Now there's a couple of other ways that we can create a loop that doesn't require an array. Let's go ahead and take a loop at those. I'm going to jump back to the resource pack directory, and let's go ahead and open up the 7th step, which is called while and for loops. Go ahead and copy the code and paste it over the code that's currently in your test.php file and save it. Now in this file, we're exploring 2 different looping constructs. These are control structures that will allow us to run the same code multiple times without having to duplicate the code. Now remember how in a previous video when we were exploring the latest version of our random text generator, how we had some code that seemed to repeat 3 different times. Well, a loop is usually a solution to that in order to reduce the code to just execute that once and then pull out unique variables that will be different through each loop. And as we progress through this and begin to understand loops more, we'll apply that strategy to that code. Okay, so we have our while statement here and we have our for statement here. Each of these is identical in what it accomplishes. Let's go ahead and take a look at it demonstrated in the browser. So make sure test.php is saved and then refresh it in the browser. So you see we have this is heading 1, this is heading 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we see that happening again. So in our while loop, let's go ahead and jump back to the editor. We're displaying each of those heading levels, and we're doing the same thing in this for loop. Now when we're doing a loop that isn't based off of an array, then we need to make sure that we set an end to it. And the way we do it with a while loop is we set a condition to check every time the code runs in order to see if it's going to run again. So in that sense, it's very similar to an if statement. So we can read it, if this condition is true, then run this code. The difference with while is that it will go back and check this statement again and then run the code again until this statement is false. So the condition that we're checking is to see if the variable called I is less than or equal to 5. So if something in this code here changes I to be greater than 5, then this while loop will stop running. So it's important that we add something in it that will trigger that at some point, otherwise this loop will run forever. So to begin this process, we're setting the I variable to have the value of 1. We're using this as a counter, and this is a convention that you'll see often. I is short for increment or incrementing. And when you see it, it usually means that it's a counter that's going to be changed over time in order to keep track of how many times a loop has run. So after we set this variable, what we're doing is running while. And again, remember it's very similar to an if statement. And so it's going to say, while I, which is equal to 1, is less than or equal to 5, run this code. Of course, the first time that it runs, it will be. So what we're doing is using the I variable in order to create an HTML tag. So this will be h1 the first time it runs through. And the closing HTML tag will be the /h1 here. And then inside of the tag, we're saying this is heading and then I again, so we can see the number of heading that it is. And in the next line, what we're doing is incrementing I by 1. So this is another shorthand operator, and it says I equals I plus 1. So the plus plus equals this. So this is similar to what we saw with the shorthand concatenation, which was the period equal sign. What we're doing is reducing repetition. So this is more elegant, meaning that it's smaller, it's not redundant, and eventually as you catch on, this will be easier to read. So at this point, I will equal 2. And then while will run again. It's going to check to see if I is less than 5, which it is because it's 2, and then it will print a heading 2 tag, and then it will add 1 more to I to make it 3. We'll jump back up to while. It will check to see if 3 is less than 5, which it is, so it will print a heading 3 tag, and then add 1 more. The next time while runs, it will check to see if 4 is less than 5, which it is, so it will print a heading 4 tag, and then add 1 more to I. And then this next loop is the last time that it will be true. It's going to check to see if 5 is less than or equal to 5, which it is. It will print a heading 5 tag, add 1 more, and then while we'll check this condition 1 more time to see if 6 is less than or equal to 5, which it's not. So it will skip this code and begin executing the code in the rest of the file.